It is Freedom Fix Friday, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about free will and why it's freakishly important to you. Free will is something that I did not know the importance of when my son passed away. Free will is one of the most powerful principles that we can live by that unlocks the prisons that hold us captive from living the life that we want. To demonstrate this, I wanted to talk to you guys about a fun little thing that I found. If you take the same letters, creation, creation, and you rearrange the letters and you put them in the order of reaction versus reaction, you've got the same exact letters put together different, and you've got two totally different definitions of what those letters mean when they're put together. We can take two people who have experienced the same thing, and one person can walk away from it and let it be their greatest blessing, and the other person can walk away from it and it is their greatest hell. So why is this? Why can we have a woman be raped and she walks away and she's never able to have a powerful, connective, trusting relationship with a good, healthy man, versus a woman like Elizabeth Smart, who was kidnapped from her own home and severely abused for many, many, many months. And she can then take that experience and use it as a blessing to the lives of others, for the lives of others. And it's because it's not that the experience was less horrendous. It wasn't that the experience was easier for Elizabeth Smart compared to the woman who can't go on to have a healthy and positive relationship. It's that Elizabeth Smart looks to the experience that she had and she chose to create something out of it. Many of us choose to react to the experiences that we've been given, and reaction is that place in our life when we are not choosing. That is the place in our life where we are victims, where something is happening to us. Our experience is happening to us and we are reacting. We no longer have the ability to choose. When we take that experience and we say we want to create something out of this, that is when we shift from victimhood to survivor. That is when we shift and we transform from that level of reaction to the power of creation. Reaction is our normal, mortal, natural self. That is how we naturally cope, is to react. It takes a choice to create something out of the circumstances that we are going through. It all boils down to a choice. So let me demonstrate this. When my son passed away, I really reacted, massively reacted. I became depressed and sad and angry and resentful and bitter and isolated, and I cried 20 hours a day. I was in my bed, I'm not joking, 20 hours a day for 5 years straight. I was the epitome of reaction to my life circumstances. I was miserable. And on his 5th anniversary, I decided that I needed to stop reacting and that I needed to create. And in that moment, I chose that I would create happiness in my life again. I didn't know how. It wasn't a flip of the switch. It wasn't fast. It wasn't easy. It was hard, but I made a choice. And my choice was that I was no longer going to allow my circumstances to do me. I was going to do my circumstances. And when I started looking at my experience in a different way, and I had basically the same letters, like creation versus reaction. I had the same experience, but just put together different in my mind and how I perceived it. I started to transform the way I thought about my son's death. For many years, it was the worst thing that I could have ever gone through. And now, 13 years later, I look at it and I am so grateful for my experience. I am so grateful for my son, who is my angel. I am so grateful that he is where he is. I am so grateful. And I have shifted the pain of losing him to purpose. And I have created the blessing that it is by redefining what that experience was in my life. That experience used to be that I was victimized, that I somehow was targeted, that God didn't love me, that I was too young to go through it, that this was my own worst nightmare. And the circumstance didn't change. So why has my belief about it changed? My belief about the experience has changed because I chose to create something out of it, and I chose out of reaction. Reaction is surviving. Creation is transformation. When we decide to create from the circumstances that we've gone through, that is when we transform those circumstances from being our own worst experience to becoming something beautiful and amazing and something that benefits us instead of something that holds us back. I now look at my son's death with complete and utter gratitude for the experience. I told my mom, I said, my mom was feeling bad for me one day, and she was saying, "Oh, honey, I just wish I could take it all away. I just wish that I could make him come back. I just wish that you never had to go through this." And I said to her, I said, "Mom, do you wish that I didn't have the understanding and perspective of love, and to love fiercely, and to know who God is in my life, and to know who Jesus Christ is for me, and what it is to heal? Would you want to take away my relationship with my maker? Because if you took away the experience of losing my son, you would also be taking away everything that I learned because of it." And when I was finally able to shift how I saw my son's death, it's now my greatest blessing. It's not easy. It's not fun. I wish it wasn't so. I wish that it didn't happen. I wish I could have learned these things in another way, but I couldn't. And guess what? I couldn't continue on this life path in the same mentality of woe is me, woe is me. I had to learn how to turn that into a blessing, because I recognized that if I stayed in reaction mode for the rest of my life, I wouldn't have a very long life. Viktr Frankl, he's one of my very favorite people in the whole wide history of this world. He was a concentration camp survivor, and he talks about the last freedom that is given to us is our free will. That is the thing that nobody can take away from us. That is ours. That is ours to own. And that nobody, no circumstance can take that. I mean, keep in mind, he was a prisoner in a concentration camp survivor. He saw the very worst of all human experiences. He was given a cup of broth with a few peas in the bottom for sustenance for months and months and months and months and months. And he was so wise because he survived the experience when everything about that experience should have shut him down, should have killed him, just from severe malnourishment, if nothing else. And because he chose in his mind to see the positive in it, to create something out of it. And while he was in the camp, surviving the world's worst experience, he decided that he would assign meaning, he would assign purpose to this pain. And he decided that he would make it an experiment, that he would use it to understand the psyche of humans. And he would watch, and he would analyze people, and he would keep record. And because of this, it helped him get through the worst of the worst, because he assigned meaning and he created some positive benefit that came from the world's hellish life experience. So when we can create something from our experience, and when we can assign purpose to that pain, that is where the freedom is, friends. That is where your freedom is. Assign purpose to your pain. As soon as there's purpose behind it, it makes the pain bearable. It doesn't make the pain go away. It just makes it bearable. This is the truth, is that what we perceive is what we achieve, period. If we perceive that if I had perceived that my son's death was the worst thing that I could ever go through, then I would achieve those feelings of sadness and depression and anger and bitter and all of the things that I had experienced. If I perceived that my son's death could possibly be a blessing to me, then I start to achieve beliefs that, and I then start gathering evidence of what I'm perceiving. So I'm now perceiving that my son's death is the greatest blessing that could have ever happened to me. And so then I start to gather evidence of that. And then I start to achieve the beliefs that come from my son passing away as a blessing. And so now I believe that my son's passing helps me every single day. That without him on the other side, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. That he gives me inspiration, that he leads me, and that he guides me, and he directs me, and that he couldn't do that here. I believe that I needed to learn the lessons of compassion and grief and healing and understanding, and then trying to put purpose behind that so that the pain then the pain has purpose. Anyway, I hope this resonates with you guys today. One of the most important principles that you can live by, first of all, knowing that you have the ability to choose. It is called free will. You have the ability to choose how you perceive the experiences that you go through. What you perceive is what you achieve. If you perceive the experiences that you're going through as the worst thing ever, then that is what you're going to achieve in your beliefs. If you perceive that the experience that you're going through is the biggest blessing and that you're going to find the reasons why it's the biggest blessing in your life, you are going to achieve finding those beliefs. It is the way our brains work. We believe what we perceive. So if you want a different experience from the circumstances that you're facing, if you want different feelings, if you want different emotions from those, choose to have a different perception. If you're looking at it as the worst thing you've ever gone through, I ask you to ask yourself this one simple question. How can this one thing be the very best thing that I have ever gone through? And when we get to a point where we ask ourselves this, even on the most horrendous of life experiences, even if you are going through the absolute hellish of all hells right now, I get it. I feel you. I hear you. I've been there. I've walked the depths of hell. I have been there more times than I would like to count. And the one principle that pulled me out of those depths of hell every single time was, how is this one thing the thing that could serve me the most? How could this be the very best thing that I could go through? And then if you perceive it as something that is going to benefit you, you will find the benefits even in the hell. You will find them. And when you can find the benefits even in the hell, that is when you become grateful for the experience, because now you're no longer a victim. Now you are a creator of your circumstance. The circumstance is not creating you. So I'm going to leave that with you guys today. I hope you have a fantastic Friday, and we will talk to you next Friday. Take care. Bye.